Everyone, I'm really excited to go live today talking about the root causes of eczema. And the reason that I am actually going live about this topic is because I just recently released a free guide that discusses the root causes of eczema. So definitely check it out on Instagram. Check the link in my bio, or you can go to cleanbody.health/eczema guide to access that free guide. And we are going to be doing these live Q&As every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And this week I'm going to be talking about the 6 top root causes of eczema, but in subsequent weeks we're going to talk about just different eczema topics. So if you are interested in learning more about eczema and everything eczema related, then definitely go to the link in my bio and make sure that you up to get the reminders about my live every week on Wednesdays at 12:30, okay? Our agenda for today is we are going to talk about the top 6 root causes of eczema, the 3-step clean body method to address these root causes. We're going to go over some case studies, and I'm going to do that in about 20 minutes or so, and then we're going to have question and answer time. So I would love for you guys to submit your questions, and I will answer those questions live, okay? So definitely make sure that you sign up for the live Q&A that I am going to do every Wednesday, okay? All right, so let's talk about the root causes of eczema and why conventional medicines don't provide a lasting cure. They are just dealing with the symptoms. We are not getting to the root causes, and that's why the free eczema guide that I just released is breaking down all of these root causes, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And there's so many problems that come with conventional medicines. Not only are they not really getting to the root cause of the problem, they are also potentially causing problems like topical steroid withdrawal. It's also called red skin syndrome. This is when you stop using your topical steroids and then it's just red all over the place and inflamed, oozing, and this can be a huge problem with your topical steroids. So again, this is not a lasting answer. The other problems with other types of medications like biologics or Dupixent, for example, can come with a lot of side effects like eye problems and blindness and is an issue that can also happen there. But, again, not really getting to the root cause of the problem. So, what we really want to do is assess, okay, what are the root causes? What do we really need to unravel in an eczema case? And there are top 6 root causes that we're going to go over today. And where we really need to start is we need to understand that symptoms are really just an alarm system. They are a reflection that there's a problem inside of your body, and they are not the problem itself. So your eczema symptoms are not the problem itself. The problem that there are 6 root cause issues, okay? So definitely check out my free guide, which kind of breaks all of this down, but I wanted to go over it really quick before I open it up to questions. Root cause number 1 is microbial imbalances. And there are microbiome imbalances not only on the skin, but in the gut. So gut and skin microbiome imbalances. And this is in the literature. If you guys want to look at my free eczema guide, I basically break down all the science behind all of this. But not only the skin, but the intestinal microbiome is definitely affected in people with eczema. And this is a huge problem that is kind of the number 1 issue that I really like to take care of when I am dealing with eczema. And it is pretty much across the board. I would say that this is a problem that almost everyone with eczema has, is that they have a problem with some kind of microbiome imbalance in the gut and the skin, okay? And then other microbiome imbalances can include like infections, parasite infections, bacterial infections, mold problems. And mold, not only like current exposure to mold, but also even prenatal exposure to mold. If you guys are having infants or babies that are having that mom had some exposures to mold, that could also be causing problems. Okay. Now, root cause number 2, actually, Yeah, root cause number two is toxic burden. And this is a big one because we are surrounded by so many toxins in today's world. And if you guys check out my guide, you'll see so many studies that are linking toxic exposure to eczema. So, for example, mercury exposure can be linked to eczema. And I do find this really frequently in my eczema patients is high mercury levels. We can get mercury from amalgam fillings, those metal fillings. We can get mercury exposure from foods like fish, etc. And so this is in the literature. Also, other types of heavy metals such as arsenic and lead are commonly found in my and plastic toxins like phthalates and BPA. And if you check out my free guide, you can see there's so many toxins, environmental pollutants and all of these toxic exposures. And another question that my patients often ask is, well, how does my baby have all these toxic exposures? My baby was just born. And unfortunately, our babies can also have this problem as well too. And one of the ways that we can have this problem is through, the placenta, mom to baby, and then also via breast milk. So this is something that can really transfer from mom to baby. Number three root cause gut. And for leaky gut, this is where basically the normal gut should look like really nice cells that are really stuck together here with tight junctions. And therefore, we don't see a lot of leakiness in the gut. That means that leaking through like pathogens and food, etc., that may be causing increased immune responses and inflammation. Gut gets leaky actually because of some of the root causes we've already mentioned, like microbiome imbalances and high toxic exposures. And then we see this leakiness that's happening. And again, it's in the literature, so check out my free guide if you want to read more about it. But we see that there is intestinal permeability, which is also leaky gut in patients with eczema and food allergies atopic eczema. Okay, so we're seeing this in the literature. Now, the next root cause is leaky skin, and leaky is like leaky gut, where in terms of leaky skin, they're really related. So, leaky gut, leaky skin, they kind of come together. If you have a leaky gut, you potentially have leaky skin as well too. But there's also a genetic component that we want to consider, and we can see atopic dermatitis, a disease of altered skin barrier and immune dysregulation. And yeah, I think those are two big things we really need to think about. And why is the immune system getting dysregulated? And yes, there are genetics that are involved in a leaky skin process. However, I don't want to kind of focus on that too much because I think sometimes people can think, oh, well, it's just my genetics and that's the reason I have eczema and, I can't fix it. And that's just, you can absolutely fix this problem. Sorry about that. That is something you can fix. It is not necessarily something that it's just your genetics and it's something you can't fix. And so I don't want to focus on the genetics piece of things because I really want to hone in on the fact that leaky skin can also be due to a lot of toxic exposures. And when you have a lot of toxic exposures, these can cause imbalances in your skin that can cause leakiness there. It can be caused from, harsh environments on the skin as well. And then, of course, that microbiome imbalance that we also talked about on the skin, which can cause this leakiness in the skin. And oh, thank you so much for someone who just mentioned that. That your skin is healing and we've been working together. I wonder who you are, but thank you so much for commenting there. Thank you. All right. Now, next question, next root cause, poor nutrition. So, in terms of poor nutrition, of course, hopefully we're not eating a diet that looks like this. This is a diet that has a lot of food coloring, preservatives, fried foods, etc. And does this. But the unfortunate thing is, for the most part, a lot of us are not really feeding our bodies with nutrition. And number two, sometimes we are actually eating foods that we are sensitive to or allergic to, and this can be a really big problem. And we can see here the long term Western diet intake leads to dysregulated bile acid signaling and dermatitis. And so, this is something I see quite frequently is that the bile process of an eczema patient is really affected. And oftentimes, that is a big reason is what we call the Western diet or the SAD diet, standard American diet. Okay. And this is a really great paper about nutrition and atopic dermatitis. And this is a review of the studies. And, there's deficiencies related to eczema like vitamin D, vitamin A, zinc, omega-3, and probiotic deficiencies. And so this is something to one of the first places you really fix this is, fixing the intake of this nutrition and eating rich in these nutrients. And one of the first things we do when we work with anyone with eczema is really improve nutrition. This is huge. And actually, improving nutrition affects the microbiome imbalances, it affects the toxic burden, the leaky skin, and the leaky gut we've already talked about. Okay. So I'm going through these in a specific order because everything kind of builds upon each other. Poor lifestyle. Now, lifestyle has to do with, are you sleeping well? Are you drinking enough water? Are you super stressed all the time? Are you drinking a lot of alcohol? Are you smoking cigarettes? And these are all lifestyle choices that also really affect our immune function, our inflammation, which therefore leads to eczema. And we can see in the literature stress and atopic dermatitis. We can see atopic dermatitis is associated with less physical activity, and vitamin D, low vitamin D levels is really common as well in an eczema process. And where do we get our vitamin D? Well, we get our vitamin D when we have exposure to sunlight. It's a big way we get that vitamin D exposure. So we need to be out there, we need to be getting in the sun. Okay. Now, how do we fix these problems? At Clean Body, we do this in 3 steps. And the first step is we really need to do a thorough evaluation where we are really checking in with microbiome balance, toxic burden. Again, these are the root causes, right? So this is evaluation. We need to see if you have leaky gut. We need to see how your organ health is. Do you have good nutrition? And do you have any lifestyle factors that may be causing this eczema? So, to check organ function, we like to do a really thorough blood test, and it's a lot more thorough than your regular doctor would do. One of the ways that the lab test we do is a little different. We're actually looking for different reference ranges. So, we're looking for optimal function, and this is a really good example. The kidney EGFR labs are basically labs that tell us about how well you are filtering through your kidney, and the conventional reference range is usually above 60. But for us, I like to see this above 90. And that's where, for me, that's optimal function of your kidney. And this is truly preventive medicine, right? So we're basically looking at your kidney function before it goes wrong, is what we really want to do. Okay. And someone is saying, I eliminated artificial dyes from my DARS diet and eczema is about 90% cleared. I love that. Thank you so much for mentioning that because, yes, that is where the toxins come in. The toxins can really elicit that immune response and that inflammatory response, which basically manifests as eczema. Okay, so comprehensive gut analysis is how we can look at leaky gut, we can look at microbiome imbalances, and we can look at pathogens like parasites. So I love doing analysis. This lab is showing someone who has a parasite and uh, things like whether you're making enough postbiotics, which are really important, and whether you have enough prebiotics and etc. Right? So all of the above. And this is such an important test for someone with eczema. We have to look at your gut because again, those gut microbiome imbalances can equal those skin microbiome imbalances and the leaky gut can equal the leaky skin. So we have to look at the gut, okay? The next thing that could be causing an issue if you are having a lot of inflammation inflammation is maybe related to some foods, and that could be because you're having a leakiness in your gut, and some of those foods are leaking in and causing an inflammatory reaction. And this can affect, 15 to 20% of the population, and even more in an eczema. In the eczema population. And so, this may be something that's really helpful to do for some people who may be noticing that they're having some reactions to foods. Environmental toxins, again, these toxins might be eliciting an immune response that's causing eczema. So, understanding what toxins you might be exposed to is really important, like plastic toxins, parabens, etc. So, that's really important. Testing for heavy metals, I do find lead, mercury, arsenic, uranium, thallium. These are really common in a lot of my eczema patients, and we want to look for the sources, but then we all clean it up. We want to do a really good cleanse to clean that up, okay? Mold is a big one, I would say, for my eczema patients. And, sometimes there's a specific presentation, and that can lead to, kind of saying, okay, let's look into mold. Or maybe you have a lot of nasal congestion telling me that there might be mold in your sinuses. Maybe you have mold in your home that you clean and it just doesn't go away. Maybe you've had water damage in your home. So this is something that can be important. Okay. So step one, we have to do a thorough evaluation. And that's something that, conventionally isn't necessarily done. And so, that's really important. First, we have to know what we're actually dealing with. And everybody's root causes are going to be a little bit different. Some might have more microbial imbalance, more toxic burden, more poor nutrition, etc. Okay. Now, step two, we have to optimize what I call the pillars of health. We have to make sure that all of these toxicities are cleaned up. Stress is good. So, lifestyle factors like stress, we need to work on that. We need to move your body to get your lymphatic system moving. We have to make sure you're feeding yourself with good nutrition, that your environment is totally clear of toxins, and that you have a really good routine for cleaning up your system all the time. That is really, really important. Okay. So, step two is optimize. And lastly, we have to now give you support. If the body is still having eczema after cleaning all of those things up, then sometimes there might be more increased problems. Like maybe there's a parasite, maybe there's heavy metals that is stimulating that immune response that's causing eczema. So, we use things like supplements and advanced nutrition plans, and I really don't like to use conventional medicines that are just silencing the symptoms. I really like to encourage the body to heal. And there are four phases of support at Clean Body. We always start with supporting the core organs and the core imbalances. So if we find nutritional imbalances like vitamin D, is low, and zinc is low, and omega-3 is low, we may want to improve that in your diet or give you supplements for that. We need to support those organs. If we find that your core organs like hormones are imbalanced, we need to support those. And then we need to support topically as well too. So we may support eczema topically. And if you guys want to check out the guide, we are actually coming out with a new kit called the Clean Skin Kit, which addresses a lot of these root cause issues from a topical perspective, including improving the microbiome on the skin, which is so important. Okay. Next, after we support that core, we're going to move into drainage. And that's where we make sure that your drainage organs are working well with a gut protocol, maybe a kidney protocol, a liver protocol, and a lymph protocol. This is where we really need to focus on these items. And then finally, a cleanse protocol. And because, I mentioned that there are microbes and toxins that are some of the big root causes of eczema, if we find that there are heavy metals and environmental toxins and parasites and things like that, we will need to do a cleanse. We have 6 levels of cleansing at Clean Body. And then if you're working directly with us, we are going to definitely, customize that cleanse for you. And then finally, it's not just about getting to the finish line. It's about staying at the finish line. And that's where Clean Body for Life comes in. This is where, what is the maintenance? What do we do to kind of maintain? And that's really just living a clean life is really what we want at the end there. Okay. Now, one of our cleanses I wanted to just highlight, because this cleanse is actually the cleanse that got me to the finish line. It's our Clean Bile protocol, and this is a liver gallbladder flush. And this is truly flushing what I like to call your funnel. when you have eczema, often that funnel is getting really congested, and this is where we flush it out. And so beware the next slides. Pictures. They are from a patient with eczema, bloating, chronic belching, frequently getting sick, trying to get pregnant, and we did find parasites on her stool test. And this is what we flushed out, and this is bile basically. And bile, I want you to think of it like a bus that carries toxins out of the body. So along with this bile, toxins are also flushed out. And this is kind of like taking your car to the mechanic and getting your transmission flushed, every 2 years or so. And if you don't flush your transmission, what's going to happen? Well, those and you may have heavy metals that will kind of fill up in that transmission, and you will need to replace your transmission. And that's really what's happening to us, is our funnels are getting full and no one is teaching us how to clean this out. Okay, so now let's see some real case studies. These are some patients that have gone through the Clean Body program and have allowed us to share their stories here. So this is Yahira. This is her on day 0. This is her 1.5 months later, and this is her 3 months later. And she was on Dupixent when she first started, and then she was doing pretty good at that 3-month mark. And her initial labs did show, gallbladder was really congested, that the bilirubin level was out of range for me. And again, that's her bile was really just congested, which is really common in an eczema case. We saw bile acids, leaky gut, immune inflammation, gluten intolerance, dysbiosis, which is that imbalance of the microbiome, poor good bacteria. And there also was an autoimmune disease component that was being triggered. And for autoimmune disease, I know conventionally we're often like, oh, well, this is just genetic. There's nothing we can do. We just give medication. But 70% of all autoimmune disease is actually due to environmental factors, toxic chemicals, dietary components, gut dysbiosis, and infections. So autoimmune disease is something that we can treat. It's something that we can address by addressing these environmental factors. Okay. Eosinophil count was high, so there's a lot of inflammation and low vitamin D. And so this is her before and after. And by addressing all of those imbalances, we were able to get her to what I call clean body health. And this Jimmy, actually, all of these people have videos on my testimonial website where they share their stories. Jimmy started off like this, and we found basically the toxins of black mold in his system. He had to work through cleaning up his home, and this is him 4 months later. Skin is clear, so looking really happy. This is a 5-year-old in my practice, and we had to clear food intolerances and sensitivities, dysbiosis, and poor bile production. And you can see severe itchiness in the beginning here, and 5 months later, super clean. This is a 17-month-old with eczema, and we cleared food intolerances and sensitivities and dysbiosis. And for this patient, we actually focused on mold, and heavy metals was a big one for this patient. Okay. This is another patient similar to Yahira with TSW, and we did find a bacterial pathogen in her system. So in the initial labs, we cleared that. And she also did have the autoimmune disease screen as well too. And this is her final visit. And she also did just do a video for us where she announced that she's pregnant, and she's just doing so awesome now. And so definitely watch those videos. Go to my testimonials page. Okay. All right. Now, if you guys are interested, I am going to open it up to questions in a second, and I'll kind of go back and answer any questions that anybody put up here. But if you are interested in working with us one-on-one, first of all, let's meet in a 25-minute virtual consultation. I will hear your story. I'll review your assessments. We're going to give you some assessments to do so we can analyze your organs and your pillars of health. I'm going to review your health history and your labs, any labs that you've had from your doctors. And you'll get access to our Clean Body app so you can journal. And we want to see what's going on with you. This is a big part of our practice, is we want to see what you're eating. We want to see what your lifestyle is, what your symptoms are. Are you sleeping? So you'll start journaling. You'll send me some pictures. food pictures, poop pictures, skin pictures. I will review your journal entries and I will give you a hypothesis for why you are having eczema. I'll break down your 3 steps to what I call clean skin, which is what we're all trying to achieve. And normally this is 257, but if you guys want to join me, you can go to either the link in my bio or cleanbody.health/DC. Use the code LIVE51 and you'll get 50% off the discovery consultation. And as a bonus, if you do decide to join us, you will actually be able to put that cost of your visit towards your program, making the visit basically free. We do offer a discovery consultation guarantee, so 100% money back guarantee. If you don't feel that I have given you profound insights into why you have eczema, then you can ask us for your money back, no questions asked, okay? If you guys do decide to join us, we also do have a money back guarantee on our program and our concierge program, where if in 4 months you haven't achieved measurable improvement to your skin symptoms or you can ask for your money back, no questions asked. All right. And in terms of Clean Body for Life, we have a member maybe ready to dive in with us one-on-one. We do have a monthly membership, and you can go to cleanbody.health slash Clean Body for Life and use the code again live51 to get 50% off your first month, and then you can cancel anytime. And that basically gives you access to all of our resources, all of our cleanse protocols, labs, and things like that. Okay. And if you do want to order labs directly, maybe you're not ready to jump in and work with us individually, but you just kind of want to see what toxic burden you have, maybe what gut imbalances you have, and what food sensitivities you might have, which are, 3 of the tests that we really love to do to just kind of uncover, okay, what potential root cause issues do you have? You can start there and then book a consultation with us to just kind of discuss those labs and just see, if further support is needed. Okay. All right. I would love to open it up for questions. I do want to remind you this is for informational purposes only. If you want to get evaluated, again, definitely check out all of those items that I mentioned previously. And I will keep this one up right here in case anybody does want to meet. And I would love to open it up to some questions right now. Let's see. Based in the UK, is this something I could participate in? Yes. So we do have the membership that you have access to. You can book a discovery consultation. We won't be able to work together one-on-one because I can't work with anybody who's out of the country, but I can still kind of guide you and give you some help in terms of what you may want to be doing. Or you can just go ahead and join Clean Body for Life, and that's available to anyone worldwide here. All right, for the person who asked that question. And definitely, please ask questions. I would love to answer any questions you guys have. I am going to open up another box here just to see if anyone else is asking questions on YouTube as well. So if you guys have any questions, please go ahead and type them into the chat box right now. Okay, and let's see. And someone said, you said live 51 is 50% off, but is this covered by insurance? Okay, so Isela, you're on YouTube right now, and you asked a question about is it covered by insurance? And the answer there is if you are in California, you have a PPO insurance, then there's a possibility it will be covered by insurance. And there are a couple of other states where there is a possibility that you will get coverage for the services we offer, but California definitely, and then there are a couple of other states where it's a possibility, and we would basically provide you a super bill to get reimbursed from your insurance. We don't accept the insurance, but we'll give you a super bill to get reimbursed, and then you'll just have to contact your insurance to see if they will reimburse you. Okay. Okay, found out that I am allergic to balsam of Peru. Would your program benefit me? Yes. So if you are allergic to anything, or if you see that you have a lot of allergies, a lot of intolerances, sensitivities, etc., then you really, really want to think about why are you having those issues. And often it's actually because there is something triggering inflammation, triggering an immune response in your system. And that is leading to sensitivities and allergies. Okay. Now, I have a really good example. I used to be allergic to shrimp when I had eczema. When I had really bad eczema, I was really allergic to shrimp. And I am no longer allergic to shrimp. And, a big reason there is my gut was really leaky before. And so by healing the gut, I sealed up that leakiness. And now I don't have a lot of leakiness, which then causes me to not, um, have those particles of food leak into my system. And therefore, I don't have the immune response. So often we can really see that fixing the leaky gut and the leaky skin for that matter, because I used to be super sensitive to anything I would put on my skin and I would get an immune reaction from basically everything I put on my skin. And nowadays, I can put things on my skin. Of course, I don't choose to put toxic chemicals and things like that on my skin. But even if I do, I don't really get the same reactions that I used to get. Okay. Okay, now can you see patients based in the US virtually? Yes. So actually, most of our care is done virtually. We do treat people. The team and I treat people all over the US. So actually, most of it's done virtually. We do have a possible in person option if needed for anybody in California. But for the most part, we are doing mostly everything virtual. We have a really awesome app where you actually will log in all of your progress, and we actually check in on you every single week to make sure things are progressing, which is why a lot of our patients will see measurable improvement within the 4 months. And that's why we have that 100% guarantee as well, because we're checking in on you all the time to make sure things are moving along. Okay. Isella is asking how accurate is the blood work test. So I'm not using a different company from your regular doctor. I like to use Quest or LabCorp usually. So those companies are very trusted companies that your regular doctor is using too. The difference is that I am actually analyzing the blood results a little bit differently. So the reference ranges that I'm using are just a little bit different, where they might be a little tighter. So I like things to fall in a place where I know that you're functioning really well. And your conventional doc might have a little wider of a reference range. Uh, and that's not really looking for optimal function. It's more so looking for disease. And I'm not just looking for disease. I'm also looking for optimal function. I want your labs to look as beautiful as can be. Okay. All right. How do you see patients' skin by just pictures? Yeah. So the pictures are really awesome if you guys give me all types of pictures in terms of skin, disease, and that's a really great way for me to understand, just by even the presentation of your skin, what might be some of the root causes. So how the skin looks. If I need to see someone in person, again, as I mentioned, it's a possibility. But to be honest, really good pictures really communicate how someone's skin is being, is exhibiting in terms of the pictures. As long as someone gives me really good skin pictures. And the important thing also is not just the check-ins where we meet for visits, but every single week I need to see how that skin is progressing. And that's a really important part of our program, and why we hope to see people move along quickly, because we are really, tracking that progress. Is fixing leaky gut an easy process? I think everybody has a different level of leakiness for, um, and it depends what you would consider easy, hard. I think one of the hardest things probably is oftentimes there needs to be a change in the diet. And I think that's probably the hardest part, is that change in diet that needs to happen, because sometimes we are eating things that may be causing that leakiness in our gut, that inflammation, which is leading to the leakiness. And that could be sensitivities, food allergies, and most common foods that I might see are things like gluten and dairy that could be problematic. And so those are foods that we might need to remove for some time, let the gut heal and then bring those foods back. We also will do things like supplementation to support the healing of the gut. And we will, do other things like other treatments that may help the healing of the gut. Also, just other things like stress relief and exercise and all of those. Remember, what I call pillars of health are also really important for leaky gut health. And again, if you guys haven't checked out my free eczema guide, definitely check it out, because in the leaky gut section, I kind of break down all the things we need to do to heal leaky gut. Okay. What are the approximate costs for the necessary tests? So for everybody, the tests are different, right? Because everybody is going to have different root causes. We are not necessarily going to have the same root cause for every person. So because of that, it's hard to say exactly what tests everybody needs. But my recommendation, if you guys want to learn more about testing, is to go to cleanbody.health/labs. And you'll learn about labs that you actually have access to ordering directly if you would like to do that. Or you can book a consultation with us and we will assess what labs are important for you to get. And we will kind of balance out, and I'll talk about that at the discovery consultation as well too. So if you decide to book a discovery consultation, um, and also just as an FYI, this Live 51 code, I forgot to mention, it does expire tomorrow at 9 p.m. So you guys have a little over 24 hours to use that code if you're interested in using that code, but then it will expire at around 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you live in another time zone, then just change that accordingly. So if you go to that, you'll see the lab cost there, and actually it's broken down all of the different labs that we might use. Is eczema associated with cellulitis and or lymphedema? That is a really great question. So, um, yes, there can absolutely be an association there, because oftentimes we will see that with eczema, there is a lot of lymphatic congestion, a lot of lymphatic congestion. And the reason for that is because microbiome imbalances, right? If there is an infection or something like that, the lymphatic system is going to activate. And if you don't move your body a lot, that lymphatic system can get really congested, which can lead to edema, which means a swelling. And lymphedema is where there's, congestion of the lymphatic system, and then you see swelling there. So, absolutely. And cellulitis, similar. So, and I like to call it like your funnel is overflowing and your lymphatic system is kind of like the garbage disposal of your system. And so, if you are not cleaning up that system, cleansing it, if you are filling it with a lot of toxicity, then you may see problems in that the lymphatic system, which really leads to the symptoms of eczema. So, a great question, and absolutely there is an association there. Do you recommend fasting to help reset that? So, I think fasting it's actually one of our cleanses is to do a mini fast. I do not recommend fasting without the support of a team, unless you're doing just kind of a mini fast. And I really don't recommend detoxing until you have done, and I'll just kind of go back here in my slides, until you have done, supporting the core organs and supporting the drainage organs. So, until you have supported the core organs, which means, your hormonal organs, supported nutritional imbalances, etc., and done drainage support, which means make sure that all of those drainage organs, the way that your toxins are getting out of your body, like your gut, your kidney, your liver, are all supported. You really should not be cleansing. And fasting is a type of cleanse where when you fast, you may go into autophagy, or which means that basically your body might start cleaning things up. And if you have not supported the core and the drainage part of your system and you start cleansing, your eczema is going to flare. And I think that is one of the big problems with people who, oh, yeah, cleansing and this is going to heal my skin. Cleansing is kind of the grand finale of things. We need to set up the core and the drainage before we cleanse. And so that's something that we working with you one-on-one. If you join our membership, you get access to the protocols and the tools to kind of assess this for yourself so that you can do our protocols and support yourself to cleaning things up. Okay, so great question there. All right. Any other questions that anyone has, please go ahead and type into the chat box. And again, I'm happy to answer any and everything about eczema, but we are talking about the root causes of eczema today. And we talked about 6 root causes. And if you guys are interested in learning more about this, and I'm just going to try to get to, if you guys are interested in learning more about this, definitely check out my free guide. If you're on Instagram, check out the link in my or go to cleanbody.health/eczema guide because I break down all of the root causes that we talked about here today. And somebody is asking what is the cost of the membership. So that's this one right here. And the cost is per month. And there is an initiation fee of $97 for the first month. So if you use the code live51, you will get 50% off your first month. And then you can cancel anytime. So if you guys just want access to the resources and I do a live call just like this for everybody in our program. So we can answer questions for anyone who is getting access, then definitely check that out as well too and use that code live51. Okay. But if you're interested in working one-on-one, definitely check out the discovery consultation. And again, both of these codes do expire tomorrow at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So just change that accordingly with wherever you live. Okay. All right. And any other questions? I would love to open it up to any other questions. If anyone has any questions whatsoever about eczema, the root causes of eczema, how to get to the root causes of eczema, and, in my opinion, this is really getting us to a cure. And for those of you who don't know, I suffered from eczema. That is the reason I am a naturopathic doctor who focuses on skin conditions. I suffered with eczema for my entire life, and I have now been eczema free for over a decade. And I never think about it. I never. And I like to wear these like short sleeve, on these because I used to cover all of this up, so I know what that feels like. And I don't have to cover up. I never wake up with stuff under my nails anymore, from scratching all night. I used to not even turn on the light in the bathroom. So it's not something I ever deal with anymore. And for me, that's a cure. And I know, you might talk to people and say, there's no cure for eczema. And I have not witnessed that. I have witnessed a cure in myself and in many of my patients who have gone through this process of really delving into the root causes. And we have to do that in order to heal. If we do not address those root causes, we will not see lasting change. And that's what we're really looking for. All right. And someone says, do you have a liver, kidney, and gallbladder optimal function protocol? Yes. So if you join our membership, you will get access to our protocols. And you don't get access to those immediately because we do want to make sure you are building the core port of your system first. You're getting the evaluation you need by ordering labs. And then, about a month into the membership, you will get access to those protocols where we'll teach you how, if you found that your liver or your gallbladder or your gut are in balance, we'll give you access to some protocols that can clean those things up. Okay. All right, perfect. Any other questions? Please go ahead and type into the chat box. Again, we are talking about the root causes of eczema, and I am opening it up to any questions about the root causes of eczema or how to, heal eczema from the inside out is another way to think about it. Okay. Please type into the chat box if you have any other questions. And otherwise, I do hope to maybe meet some of you guys soon. I am actually going to be doing these lives more frequently, and we will talk about different topics every week. So join me every Wednesday at 12:30. Spend your lunch with me, and I'll be doing these on IG, on Instagram, as well as YouTube. So if you guys want to access this live on YouTube as well, you can access it there. If you want to get a reminder about it, then go ahead and go to my link in my bio and click attend live Q&A, and then you'll get a reminder every Wednesday, and you'll get a reminder about what topic we're talking about. I think eczema is something that we feel like there are no answers, but there are so many answers. And we just have to kind of open our minds to another way of looking at things and addressing not the eczema itself, but the reasons we're having the eczema. Because to me, eczema is truly an alarm system that's going off. And it's just an alarm telling us there's a problem inside. So that's where we need to go, is inside. Okay. And someone is asking, do we work with pediatric patients? Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I'm really sad about this, but this is a really common problem in the pediatric world, because my opinion on this, and actually it's in the literature too, is we're seeing an increase in with the increase in toxins and the use of antibiotics, um, and all of that that's happening in our world today. And we're just seeing an increase in eczema. And unfortunately, so many babies are coming out with eczema because of their toxic burden. C-sections, antibiotic usage, all of this is affecting microbiome. It's affecting toxic burden, all of that. Okay. Promo code, everybody, is on the slides. Maybe you can't see it because it's so tiny. So let me just write it here. The promo code is live51. And hopefully you'll see that. Yep, the promo code is live51, and that will give you 50% off. It does expire tomorrow Pacific Standard Time, so definitely use it today. And that can be used on our membership. It can also be used on our discovery consultation. And we also do have a money back guarantee on our discovery consultation. So if you don't feel like you got so much information from me from the discovery consultation, we will give you your money back. Okay. All right. And my teenager started with eczema when she was in high school. Okay. So things to think about for that. You may want to think about, hormones is one thing. So definitely when we are going through puberty, hormones can really put a burden on our liver as well, the increase in the hormones. And then, of course, with a teenager, thinking about diet and thinking about other exposures that are happening at that time. So all of that can put a burden on the system and cause eczema. And, if we talk, my main question is like, why do you have eczema? That's what I want to answer. And everyone's answer will be a little bit different. Okay. But this is to give you an idea of some of the root causes that we uncover in people with eczema. What's usually associated with eczema: behind knees, elbows, creases, and ankles. Yeah. These are very, very common places, right, to have eczema. Um, and one of the reasons that it might be in those areas are, these are places where we might have a kind of bacterial overgrowth and microbial overgrowth in those areas. And then I think we get itchy in those areas because of the microbiome imbalances in those areas. Is one explanation for that. And I often do find that there is an overall inflammatory load, sometimes food, but microbial imbalance, I think, is something to really look into there. And then sometimes toxic burden as well too, where we might have poor lymphatic movement in those areas, and then more toxic exposure, more toxic release through that area. Okay. How about dermatitis on the face? Yeah, so it depends where the dermatitis is. So if it's around the mouth, I often notice that can absolutely, anything on the mouth is often related to gut dysfunction and gut related dysfunction. Um, and that could be the person's eating something that they're sensitive to or allergic to. It could be they have leaky gut. It could be they have inflammation in their gut. It could be they have pathogens in their gut, parasites, that kind of thing. If it's around the mouth. If it's around the eyes, I also find that related to food as well too. But as we saw in some of the pictures of the case studies, and I will post this, guys missed it, so check it out on my IG or on my YouTube. Check this live out if you missed it. Um, if it's around the eyes, often food again, but also when someone has TSW, sometimes we see this kind of like raccoon-like thing around the eyes and around the mouth as well. Is the most common trigger gut issues? So again, I went through 6 different root cause issues, and gut is a part of 3 of those. I would say it's a part of the microbiome imbalance, it's a part of the leaky gut, and it's a part of poor nutrition. So gut is huge. Gut is half the problem oftentimes, but it's not the only problem. And the other root causes include, toxic burden and poor lifestyle issues, not just gut related. So It's not always as plain as there's one problem. Often there's 5 to 10 issues that are contributing to this overload, which is causing inflammation and immune responses. Okay. My son's eczema looks like round coins on his elbows. Can I put something topical to prevent it? You guys go to my website and you can just search Clean Skin Kit. My Clean Skin Kit is going to be releasing in about a month. And this 3-step kit is basically number one is called cleanse. And that is to basically cleanse the skin of any microbes that might be causing eczema, like Staph aureus. Is a really common infection that can kind of have eczema proliferating and causing flares as well too. So that is called cleanse. Step 2 in our kit is a probiotic spray. And then step 3 is a protect ointment that you would put over to seal up the leaky skin. And so it's really going to be great for that itching because the itching can be due to the microbial imbalances on the skin. Okay. I've had dermatologists say eczema. Oh, and by the way, it's pre-order right now. It's releasing in June, and there's 10% off if you guys decide to pre-order that right now until it's released. Okay. All right. I've had dermatologists say eczema and psoriasis are the same, but I can't get clear answers online. They are not the same. Um, so eczema is more of this inflammatory condition on the skin that causes inflammation and causes itchiness. Psoriasis is actually more autoimmune in nature, where the autoimmune disease is basically triggering the body to create too much skin. So that's why with psoriasis, you're going to see more of like flakiness and this kind of silver scaliness on the skin. It's actually an overproduction of those skin cells. And it's being triggered by an immune reaction that's likely happening because of toxins and microbes. So in psoriasis, I often see mold, I see parasites, I see heavy metals like lead, mercury, arsenic, those types of things that are basically triggering these proteins, uh, maybe binding to the proteins on the cell, on the skin cells, and then triggering that kind of overproduction of skin cells. To kind of explain it in plainly. So they're different. Now, the root causes are really similar though. So if you have psoriasis and you actually read my free eczema guide, be really similar, but most of the studies on my guide have to do with eczema, but the causes are actually really similar. You're just seeing this different presentation in psoriasis, and oftentimes psoriasis is just more autoimmune related and sometimes a little harder to treat just because we have to reverse the autoimmune condition, which conventionally you may be told that that's not possible. But for me, as a naturopathic doctor, if we address the thing that's triggering the autoimmune disease, we can potentially address the autoimmune disease. Okay. And this person is saying dermatitis on my forehead behind my ears. Okay, behind your ears and on the forehead, these are places, number one, of buildup, right? Like buildup of microbes in those areas. And so definitely the clean skin kit that I mentioned before, where you're spraying the cleanse spray and then the probiotic spray called Restore in those areas can really help to heal that. The other thing to think about behind the ears is having a lot of lymphatic congestion in those areas as well too. So massaging those areas, especially if you feel little marbles in those areas, that means your lymphatic system might be really congested. Thinking about doing things to improve lymphatic movement could be really helpful for that. I have some plaque psoriasis in certain areas like ears, face, and scalp. Okay. Yeah, we are actually, our next guide we're releasing is a free psoriasis guide. But for you, in the meantime, I still recommend checking out my free eczema guide because actually the root cause issues are really similar. But we'll create a guide for psoriasis where we'll break down all the studies that are related to psoriasis. But it's really similar. It's just that, we often find that autoimmune component. Hands break out a lot And washing hands more. Okay. Yeah. So sometimes you want to think about with the hand breakouts, you want to think about what soaps you're using. Make sure that they're clean and organic and clean, fragrance free, all of that. Fragrances are really, really toxic. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. Our new clean skin kit, if you use our cleanse spray on your hands and you're trying not to use soap, that's a possibility too, because that'll clean up any microbes on the hands. But um, I've also noticed hand breakouts to be really related to stress. So if people have a lot of stress going on, I've noticed that the hands tend to grow. And I had a case one time where, we cleaned up everything, diet, toxins, lifestyle, etc., stress, and everything got better. And then the person maintained everything, but then the stressor in their life came back, and then you know, the hands flared and nothing else changed, diet, et cetera, et cetera. So sometimes stress plays a really big role, and that's in the poor lifestyle root cause that we talked about today. So that's something to definitely think about, because when you're stressed out, you may be shutting down all of the kind of regular processes of your body. And then, things like detoxification and digestion and all of that. And if you shut those processes down, you're also shutting down your anti-inflammatory processes too. So inflammation can flare. Okay. What do you get in the monthly membership? Yeah, so the monthly membership is great if you kind of want a course that's going to lead you through our entire three-step method, which is number one, evaluate. So you will get access to ordering your own labs if you would like to assess your toxic burden, your microbiome imbalances and food sensitivities. If you want more labs, we will have to assess you one-on-one, but as part of the membership, you'll get access to ordering those. And step two of our process is optimizing the pillars. So we have, a clean body nutrition guide and a bunch of resources to help you just optimize everything. We have, you're going to get a workbook with checklists that's basically going to help you go through all of the toxins in your household and your life and your personal products. And then you will also get a weekly call that I lead, and me and my nutritionist, we go on a call every Monday morning, and we answer all the questions, and we answer every question that everyone has about the process. And then step three is the support part. And we talked about the four phases of support. So we have a core protocol, we have a drainage protocol, we have cleanse protocol. So you'll get access to all those protocols too. And so you basically get all of our resources, and then you get access to asking us questions on a weekly basis so that we can give you help. But if you are someone who doesn't want to do things, on your own, and you want, one-on-one support, then I would recommend booking the discovery consultation as you see up here. All right. Okay. I think I answered all of the questions. So thank you so much. I love how interactive this has been. And definitely check out my free guide if you have not checked it out already. Um, and I really tried to really dig into the research and break down, what's out there that's supporting these root causes, because I know, that's a question, am I just pulling this out of the sky, or is this, backed by studies? And it is backed by studies. We are seeing these root cause issues as a big problem for eczema. So if you're not addressing these, I really want you to start addressing these, because this is your path to curing eczema. And yes, I am saying curing eczema. I am not using that term lightly. This is how you cure eczema, is by actually dealing with the problems that are causing eczema. Okay. All right. Well, if you guys are interested in coming to my next live, I will be doing this again next Wednesday at 12:30. And if you want a reminder on that, go to the link in my bio and click attend the live Q&A, or check out my guide and you'll see the link button there. It's been really great, and I hope to meet some of you guys soon. Okay. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.